blowing your mind for over 3 decades. That's a lot of blowing.
Oh,
thank you.
92.1 WTPA.
Bam!
Damn.
Central PA's independent rock.
Good morning.
What is going on?
Oh, man, not a whole lot. I'm still stuck in the deep south. And that's going interesting, as you may have heard.
I haven't heard. Tell me all about it, man.
Okay. Well, I mean, where do I start? I mean, okay, so I came to the Deep South under dubious circumstances.
Yeah.
And I had heard about Roy Moore, from like the whole Ten Commandments thing, way back. And when I found myself like in the state with him, I was after I'd hooked up with a bunch of stand-up comedians, I was like, I'd like to lampoon this guy. I think it's my turn. And so when the only gay bar in Huntsville, Alabama closed down, I took that as my opportunity, and I made an article on a local satirical website called The Rocket Wrangler, which you can see at rocket-wrangler.com.
Mm-hmm.
And I claimed that Roy Moore shut down the gay bar. It was such a believable idea that people were upset. I mean, like, I think what shut it down was just debt. But, but people were like, Roy Moore did this, and we can't, stand for that. And, so it became a whole, like, thing. People shared it all around. And, I hoped in my heart of hearts that Roy got to see it, or somebody in his office, But then that dropped. Okay, and some months later, there's this group called Can't Afford Cable that is putting on like a sketch comedy show. Mm-hmm. We were coming up to the date of the show, but we weren't ready. So we had to postpone the show, and they were all upset. And I was like, hey, guys, why don't we spin this? Let's write an article that claims that Roy Moore told us we can't do the show. Yeah.
So you're just blatantly lying. You're just blatantly but you're doing it under the guise of satire.
Correct.
Okay.
All satire. Because any reasonable human being really examining the article could figure out pretty easily that Jonathan Swift is not suggesting that we eat babies. It was.
Yes.
In such a way that it's like, okay, if you really look at this, you'll know that Roy Moore didn't say, no, you can't do your sketch comedy show. That's silly, I was just making a point that they make such ridiculous decisions that it's kind of believable, any ridiculous decision that you purport that they made.
I am reminded of the great film from the 90s starring Woody Harrelson as Larry Flint, The People versus Larry Flint. When the scene came regarding Flint and Jerry Falwell and his article in his article that said essentially Jerry Falwell was doing his mom or whatever, and in the court case in the film, the point came up. Mr. Falwell, could any reasonable person expect that you were having sex with your mom? And Falwell's character, whoever played Falwell, said, no, nobody. Well, then there it is. That's satire, right?
There you are. Yeah. If an educated person can look at this and go, oh, okay, there's no way this is real, then that's what satire is. That's satire. We're making a point,
Right.
But yeah, okay, so this is the thing. Here's where, like, the hoax then becomes real, is that the joke was that they told us that we can't make jokes anymore because they didn't like our jokes. And we, the Can't Afford Cable guys, worked with me on crafting a letter that looked like it was from the office of Roy Moore that said, cease and desist, you can't do the show. This is in the lead up to the actual show.
Okay, so now let's so the letter was fake.
The letter was fake.
The letter was fake. You and a comedy troupe got together and wrote this letter that was a cease and desist.
A cease and desist.
But it was all under the guise of satire.
Correct.
Okay.
It was a satirical work.
Right.
Now, we released this letter, and people, just like when I claimed that Roy shut down the gay bar, people got upset.
Yeah.
And people started sharing it, and it went wide. It went wide enough that people were calling people and asking, what's going on with this? Which obviously that was what we were trying to do, get some promotion for the show and whatnot. But unfortunately, it went so wide that it got to the desk of the chief of staff of the Office of Chief Justice Roy Moore. Moore.
So this is now the real Roy Moore has this in his hands, and he's looking at this and investigating this, and this is the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the state, the great state of Alabama.
Yes. He, his minion, to be exact,
right.
Chief of Staff Ben Dupree. He runs that office there. He's got this on his desk now, and he's reading this, and he's like, we didn't send this. And so he sends a message to every social media outlet that Can't Afford Cable has. Like, he sends tweets to Twitter feeds that they didn't even realize that they had anymore. And it's all but just this threatening note saying, you know, as you likely know, this letter is fake, and if you don't take it down immediately, we will take legal action.
So, Joel, it seems to me that the Chief of Staff of the Chief Justice in the state of the head lawyer in the state of Alabama would know that legally you are allowed some satirical sealing, right?
Correct. Yes, that if it's a work of satire, then you know, it's fair game under like freedom of speech and all of that.
You would think
that he'd be on the same page with us there, but because we are scared little bunny rabbits, we caved. We caved immediately, you know, and put up a passive aggressive retraction as he demanded. He didn't demand it be passive aggressive; that was our choice. But in the retraction, we referenced that like we were making the joke that you didn't like our sense of humor and told us to stop making jokes, and it was a joke until you actually saw it and decided you didn't like our sense of humor and told us to stop making jokes. Now it's kind of real, but we've retracted it, so please don't come after us. It was just a whole kerfuffle. And I have to tell you, Bob, my new hobby is being a thorn in the side of Chief of Staff Ben Dupree. This is now, like, this hoax was just going to blow over. You know, there was a retraction scheduled for publication in the Rocket Wrangler, which you can visit at rocket-wrangler.com. The retraction was going to, it said, Alabama Supreme Court makes curious ruling. The ruling was, Can't Afford Cable doesn't know what they're talking about. You know, like, the whole article was going to come out hours after Chief of Staff Ben Dupree threatened us. And the article, you know, stated, like, we saw this, and we figured this is something we could do, but we looked in the files, and we didn't do it. So Can't Afford Cable must be making stuff up. If he had just waited, it would have blown over. But instead, he contacted us, and so now Ben's my new pet project. Up on the Rocket Wrangler website right now, there's an article between Will Weininger, one of the local comics, and Ben Dupree. It's basically Will saying that Ben Dupree is a really good guy, and it was wrong of us to make fun of the Office of Roy Moore, because if we don't support every arbitrary decision that the Office of Roy Moore makes, then, you know, the rule of law will break down. And it's basically a love letter between Will and Ben, so that I can continue to advance the narrative, let Ben know what it feels like to be lampooned, and you know, we're just going to keep having fun. In the point there,
in the interest of full disclosure, and probably would have been wise to release this early on in the conversation. Especially if any legal authorities are listening in. Joel and I go way, 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 way back. I know we're separated now by somewhat 1,000 maybe miles or whatever it is, but
about 1,000. I'd be in the studio right now, but it's a long walk.
That's right. So we're longtime friends. So none of this surprises me.
Right.
But as you know, Joel, I used to play softball quite a bit. And it reminds me of one idea that I came up with on the softball field. I'm a sore loser, is what they refer to me as. And so therefore, when an umpire's ruling goes against me, I get angry, and I would get harsh and yell at umpires. And it more than once led to ejections. It's really kind of a pathetic existence, Joel. It's beer league softball, for Christ's sake. But so I decided right then and there, my final ejection, that from now on, I would still get loud, but I would praise the umpire in so doing. So if the guy is called safe and I thought he was out, I would be like, What an amazing call! That's the best call I've ever heard! Oh my God! You're unbelievably wonderful at your job, you know? So, but they can't throw me out for praising him in a high, you know? So that's what that reminds me.
Your mother's a beautiful woman. Yeah, they can't get mad at you for that.
That's right, exactly. Wow. This is quite something. This is an interesting case that has now traveled from Alabama to Pennsylvania. And you, as a student of such things, what do you think the chances are of this thing sweeping all over the place, going viral, man?
Right. I mean, well, I'm pretty sure that the follow-up, like the next follow-up article, I'm going to suggest that Mr. Ben Dupree and Mr. Roy Moore have been going on dates. So we'll see exactly how mad anybody gets. I don't know. I mean, if anybody wants to form a little merry prankster army and follow me on tweet at me on Twitter.
Yeah.
At Awkward Handle is that's my feed.
At Awkward Handle.
Awkward Handle.
Okay.
Just tweet at me like I'm in. Say like I'm in, and I'll know you're one of the people that wants to help me. Have some fun with the state of Alabama.
Unbelievable.
And we'll, I'll tweet you missions and stuff like Z Frank used to do or still does. We can have fun. We can have fun together is what I'm saying.
Very good. Now, Joel, also in the interest of full disclosure, you're one of the smartest, brightest guys I've ever known. Certainly one of the most creative. Where would you, as take a step away remove yourself from the closeness of this. Where do you, as an intelligent man, draw the line between satire and that's it, legal action needs to be addressed?
Well, I mean, from what we learned in our last little stunt, letterhead, I think, is that line. That was our downfall, Bob, is that we used some letterhead, and they were like, I think we can get you on that.
So the letterhead was the problem.
The letterhead did us in.
Yeah.
I mean, it did us in the sense that, they were able to threaten us then.
Gotcha.
But it actually made the joke so much funnier because the whole joke was they told us to stop joking, and then they called us up and they were like, we didn't tell you to stop joking. Stop joking about that. And that's so confusing.
It really is. But it's brilliant, man. It is Joel Elliott calling in, checking in from Alabama. I've said this to you numerous times, but we simply must make a pact to do this on the regular, just to check in and see how things are for you down in Alabama. Joel does stand-up comedy, a radio guy, former radio teammate of mine, and longtime friend. Joel, always good to talk, man.
Great to be here, Bob. Love you.
Love you, buddy.
Love you.
Big up, buddy. Buddy.
92.1 WTPA and WTPARock.com. Central PA's independent rock with another big old block of rock starting now.